happened with the Trump? What's the backstory there? And did you consider having him on?
Folks, it's official. Donald J. Trump will be on the Joe Rogan podcast. And I think if we look into it and the totality of the Rogan Sphere, we can successfully conclude that Joe Rogan is going to vote for Donald J. Trump.
I don't want to help anybody in this race. I certainly don't want to help him, and I certainly don't want to help Biden.
The total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more...
I think of Joe Biden as having a flashlight with a dying battery.
That's right. Yeah, I remember
going for a long walk in the woods. That motherfucker's flickering right now.
Asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look.
Joe Rogan called it. Joe Biden's mental flashlight battery went dead during the debate. And even though he said he was going to still keep running, unfortunately for him, his party stabbed him in the back and threw him out. So now we're back to breaking points with their less hip hosts who are now stating that, as per the title, Trump runs to Rogan in final campaign pitch. People are on to breaking points and these misleading headlines. No one appreciates anymore, but you get a clue as to the vibe of this segment.
He's going to sit down for an interview with Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan is the biggest interview.
Trump said, which podcast was it on? He said like a month ago that he would think about doing Joe Rogan's show. Yeah, you're right. It was Lex Friedman.
So let's start tallying up all the members of the Rogan Sphere that are on Team Trump and that are definitely going to influence Joe Rogan and his choice of president this election cycle. I like to think of this as 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, except for in the case of Joe Rogan, he's only one friend away from voting for Donald Trump because everyone in the Rogan Sphere loves Donald J. Trump right now. Look, Lex Friedman, huge friends with Elon Musk.
Following is a conversation with Elon Musk, his 4th time on the Lex Friedman podcast.
Elon Musk and Donald J. Trump are the bromance we didn't know we needed. These two billionaires are coming together to save America, and Elon couldn't be more excited. The candidate that made sense to Joe Rogan was RFK Jr.
If you want to avoid nuclear war, I strongly urge you to vote for Donald Trump.
I don't know about you, but I want to avoid nuclear war, and I think Joe Rogan wants to avoid nuclear war. Joe Rogan is a fan of RFK Jr., and RFK Jr. is now Team Trump. And back to the Breaking Points analysis. Let's compare what Breaking Points says that Joe Rogan said about Donald Trump with what he actually said about Donald Trump. Keep your head on a swivel, folks.
Joe Rogan's show. Joe Rogan, for many years, has been saying publicly that he was completely uninterested in having Trump on and that Trump is a buffoon who he refused to vote for.
So let's see if we can find this Joe Rogan calling Donald J. Trump a buffoon. We get Joe Rogan saying that Trump wasn't a dictator and that he would rather vote for Trump than Biden. Nothing about a buffoon. Here we see that. And the morons had a king. There's a lot of morons, Rogan said, of Trump supporters, but Rogan never calls Trump a buffoon.
Because Trump hates nothing more than people who make fun of him, belittle him, insult him, don't look up to him, don't respect him.
It's really not hard to see nowadays who's afflicted with Trump derangement syndrome. You can catch it at any stage in your life, and I'm not sure if there's a cure.
What'd you get at Waffle House, just so we know it?
The fact that Theo Vaughn has had both J.D. Vance and Donald J. Trump on his show, you gotta think Theo Vaughn is voting Trump, and Theo Vaughn, obviously, a huge buddy with Joe Rogan. Jeff Dye is also on the Trump train.
Because I think he's cool and I voted for him twice.
Tulsi Gabbard, who's been on the Joe Rogan Experience multiple times, is also now on Team Trump.
I think that the Democratic Party leaders, people like Hillary Clinton, people who've been in charge for a very long time, foment this kind of culture of fear and like, hey, if you go against us, like, you're dead. You're on the shit list.
Joe Rogan is a champion of free speech. And just like Tulsi points out, the Harris Waltz admin will shut it down. Dave Smith, libertarian, frequent guest on Joe Rogan Experience.
The things that I said on yesterday's episode, I still stand by everything I said there, but I think I might vote for Trump.
Will Brian stick to his anti-Trump guns and keep on dropping knowledge about how bad Donald Trump is?
So my dropping knowledge on Trump, and I just wanted to kind of give people an idea. Let's just talk for a second about the wall he keeps trying to build. He was talking about this on Sunday.
So Brian Callen goes on and on about how the wall is going to cost so much money and no way the president of Mexico is going to pay for it. And here's Kamala Harris saying that it's a complete waste of taxpayer money and that the wall won't make us any safer. But boy, did Kamala Harris and Brian Callen both change their tunes. Now we're seeing Kamala Harris is about building the wall that she a few years ago dismissed.
Country, et cetera, a wall. That would cost, by conservative estimates, $40 billion. He also said that Mexico is going to pay for it. Okay. Good luck getting Mexico to pay for it. Vicente.
Now let's check out Brian Callen's about face and how he feels about going on the Joe Rogan Experience with the Fighter Companion podcast episode right after Trump.
Also, I'm going to lick Trump's seat. How about that?
Hey, well, I'm going to sit where he sat.
I'm going to say, Joe, where did the president sit?
Where did Mr. President
You say right
sit?
there, I'm going to sniff the seat. He gets to be the most watched.
The groveling doesn't end there. Brian Callen, of course, has more in the tank. It's a true flip-flop.
Hey, Mr. President, I want to take a minute. Can you stay for the Fight Companion with Brennan Schaub, Eddie Bravo, and Brian Callen? Can you do that?
Let's not leave out Shane Gillis, who might be the funniest comedian out there right now. He's definitely Trump-friendly and does an amazing Trump impression. He's the guy that Bud Light brought in to try to make them look less woke.
Give me a Trump before you get in there.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of guys coming out here. Jamie Foxx, what a great guy.
What do you think about Joe Rogan voting for Donald J. Trump? In my opinion, it's going to happen. Get in the comment section below and see if you think that I crossed all my T's and dotted all my I's.